Hello and welcome to another Shadowshaper Duels video. In today's video I'm going to be showcasing a deck that I have been using a lot now that I have hit rank 20, and I'm also matching a lot of opponents who are using a very similar deck. Essentially, one of the main cards that is part of this deck is the Scorpius turret, which at the point of recording this video is currently still for sale at Wooming for the remainder of this weekend. So if you are watching this video over the weekend when it was released, you should be able to go and pick up this Scorpius turret yourself. Unfortunately, if you are watching the video after this weekend, then it probably is not for sale at the moment, but you can check back and maybe it will be for sale in the near future. And the reason why this card is currently getting a lot of attention is because its description at the moment is currently wrong, and I don't know whether that means the card is not working as intended, or whether actually the card is working as intended and the description needs to be updated. So the description of the Scorpius turret reads, at the end of your turn, it deals 1 damage to a random opposing unit, and it is a 3 energy card. I mean, that by itself does sound strong. Obviously, having a sustained attacking card is, a very threatening card. But when I first read this, I thought 1 damage to 1 opponent, that's not a huge amount of damage. There are similar cards such as the Elite Walker, which deals 2 damage to 2 opponents. And while it can be, quite oppressive, it's certainly not an overpowered card. But what makes the Scorpius card, quite strong is the fact that it is actually dealing 1 damage to 2 random opposing units instead of 1. And that doesn't sound like a big difference, but believe me, it really does make a huge difference. So let's go in and have a look at the deck that I have been using with this card. I will explain specifically the combination of cards that allows you to make this really strong. And then I will show some gameplay where I have been using this deck. And you will see in that gameplay that I am matching a lot of people also playing a very similar deck to what I am showcasing. So if I just go into my deck and show you what I'm using, essentially I have put together one of the most attacking decks possible, using cards from all different races, with a primary focus on attacking. That is either a very few cards I have in my deck which do not attack. In fact, the only ones I have is 1 Wooming and 2 Servitors. And really the Servitors are there to give me more attacking damage. So although they themselves are not attacking cards, they still very much play into the attacking playstyle. The reason for Wooming is just because he can suppress an enemy unit, and if they are playing something that is attacking, I might be able to use him to stop them. So that's why he's there. So let me talk specifically for a minute about the Scorpius turret and why it is very overpowered. This deck is really overpowered if you are the person going first. And the reason for that is obviously you get to play your card on round 3 before your opponent gets to play theirs. So even if you are matching someone using the same type of deck as you get your turret down before they do. The ideal situation in this deck is on round 2, you have the ability to play a Servitor. If you don't get a Servitor on round 2, when you're going first, that's a little bit unlucky. But if you get a Servitor on round 2, you absolutely should play it. And then, if you've matched someone who is using the same deck, they will likely play their Servitor on round 2 as well. However, it will then become round 3, where you get to go first. You play your Scorpius turret, and as I say, at the end of your turn, it will deal 1 damage to a random opposing unit. If you have a Servitor, that will be 2 damage. And if you notice, a Servitor only has 2 health. Combine that with the fact that at the moment this card is currently attacking 2 cards instead of 1. Even if your opponent played a card on round 1, which, they will only have been able to play 1 card on round 1, and then play 1 Servitor on round 2, they will only have 2 cards on their deck. More than likely the card they played on round 1 only has 1 or 2 health as well. But even if it doesn't, that doesn't matter. The card they played on round 1 doesn't have to die, but the Servitor will only have 2 health. Your Scorpion turret then, at the end of your round 3, will attack both of their cards, kill their servitor, possibly kill the card they played on round 1, and going into, your opponent's third round, they will have nothing, whereas you will likely still have your card from round 1, a servitor, and a turret. And at that point, it can be very hard for them to come back from it. If you keep playing more attacking based cards, every time they play something, it's going to get destroyed. You double stack servitors. If you get a second servitor, you play a second turret, you play an elite walker if you get that, and you just keep stacking attacking base cards that will deal sustained damage to your opponent. You throw in a grenade dreg to stop them playing things on the back row, and whatever they play is likely getting instantly destroyed or very nearly destroyed. And that is what makes it really overpowered, is that the turret is currently attacking 2 units. If that was not the case, then essentially there is a 50-50 chance your opponent's servitor will survive, assuming they played a card on round 1 and a servitor on round 2. Even if you played the same and you played your servitor and then turret, they will still have 2 cards, and it's a 50-50 which one your turret attacks. If it attacks their servitor, obviously that's good. If it doesn't attack their servitor, then they also have an attacking threat. They will probably play a turret, and then there's a chance your servitor might die. So I don't know whether it is intended that this is meant to target two units for 1 damage or 1, but as you can see, the description at the moment just says to a random opposing unit, so that implies it should only be targeting 1. And to be honest, I think that is probably the more balanced option. So I would imagine it is probably actually a bug, that it is targeting 2 units. You will see what I just discussed quite a lot in the gameplay I'm going to show. In the few games where I go first, you will see I play that combination and how oppressive it is. And in a lot of the games where I go second, I am very cautious about playing my servitor on round 2 for fear of it just being instantly destroyed. So just to talk through what the rest of the cards I have in the deck are, and there is some flexibility here. If you have a preference for some attacking cards over others, you can certainly swap them out. But I'll just explain why everything is included. Obviously, 2 servitors is a given, because I just want to hope I get a servitor, in the first cards I draw before round 2. 2 of these turrets are also a guaranteed inclusion. I have then included 2 Inquisitor Knights. And the reason why I have picked these is because they deal 4 damage to an opposing unit, and you can target that unit. So if your opponent plays a turret which has 4 health, you can use an Inquisitor Knight to destroy their turret. So for this particular build, especially to try and counter, your opponent's playing turrets, the Inquisitor Knight is a very good counter. In my opinion, it is a better counter than, for example, the Tracer Shank. The Tracer Shank does a very similar thing and actually has 1 more health. However, the Tracer Shank only deals 3 damage, so unless you've managed to get a servitor down, that will not instantly kill a turret, whereas the Inquisitor Knight will. So I've included 2 of them just for killing my opponent's turrets. That is the primary reason for being in my deck. I included 1 Elite Walker, just because it's very rare I've found I get the chance to play 2 of them, given it is a round 4 card. But if I get it, it's a very good card to play, especially if I've already got the upper hand and my opponent hasn't got anything down, like a grenade dreg that stops me from playing it. I can just keep piling the damage on. Speaking of the grenade dreg, I have 2 of them in there just because it is another sustained attacking card that deals a lot of damage to the back row, and a lot of these cards need to be played on the back row. In fact, I should have actually mentioned that. It doesn't say anywhere in the description of the Scorpius turret, however, it has to be played on the back row. If you play it on the front row, it does not work. So I feel that is missing from the description. I imagine what they've probably done for the Scorpius turret is they've taken the coding of the Elite Walker and forgot to change some parts of it. They forgot to change the limitation of only being able to be played on the back row. And although they have reduced the damage to 1, they've not changed the behavior from it targeting 2 opponents. I expect, because it is essentially a slightly weaker legendary elite walker. So yeah, 2 grenade dregs to provide sustained attacking to the back row. It won't be able to kill a turret if they place it, but it can half health the turret, and then there's a chance I might be able to kill the turret with something else. I've included one of this card here, although I very rarely find myself playing her, just because she has the ability to deal a large amount of damage, 3 damage, to lots of different units if I'm playing an opponent who has a playstyle that revolves around giving out a lot of buffs. For example, if it's a hive deck revolving around having inspired cards, or even if I match someone who on round 6 plays Vanok, if I'm going second, I might be able to play this as a counter. So it's not something I use often, but I just thought I would include it because it's an attacking card and has the potential to be able to output a lot of damage. I included the Augment Shank again just because it has the ability to deal damage to 3 different units. Now, I certainly think actually you could probably swap out the Augment Shank for the exotic card Gwyn if you have it, because Gwyn, if I just find her, she's not even a level 6 card, is she? She's level 3, I think, or level 4. She's level 4. Gwyn also deals damage to 3 different units, a unit and the units on its left and right, and Gwyn attacks for 3, whereas the Augment Shank only attacks for 2. But I don't yet have Gwyn, so I included the Augment Shank just to have a similar attacking style. I included Ikora because she is one of the best attacking exotic cards. She can target so many units by being able to damage everything in a row, and she just has so much health that there's no reason not to include an Ikora in your deck if you're going down an attacking playstyle. As I mentioned earlier on, I have a Wu Ming just to be able to suppress my opponent. This is for, if they play something like a turret, even a servitor or a grenade dreg, and I just want to be able to shut off that sustained attack. If I've maybe not got an Inquisitor yet to be able to kill it. And then finally, I have 2 IULers because she is a level 1 card. I think she's probably the only level 1 card that actually attacks. And 2 damage is still a decent amount of damage. It certainly can deter your opponent from being placing their servitor on their front row. And even if you don't get an IULer on round 1 and you end up skipping round 1, she's still a good card to play later on. Especially if you've already then got a grenade dreg, you can combine an IULer with a grenade dreg and just have some form of sustained attack on both of your opponent's row. Do I think you have to include her? Probably not. She is a very weak card, so if your opponent goes first and they manage to get a Scorpion turret down on round 3, she's probably just going to get killed because she will not survive the attack, even if it is not buffed by a servitor. So what I have seen some people playing instead is playing the Hex Guard, because this is a unit where when it gets played, it gains the inspired effect, which means it gains +1 health every round. So although it is a weak card to begin with, if you do not kill it, it will increase in power as the game goes on and, likely be able to sustain constant attacks off the turret because it is healing itself every round. So if you wanted a more passive level 1 card, you could certainly use something like the Hex Guard. I personally had a preference for IULer just to really, have as many attacking options as possible. But you will see I match a lot of opponents who are playing Hex Guard instead of IULer. So that is my specific deck. You could certainly make changes to it yourself if you wanted. But yeah, the main cards that I would say you want to have in the deck if you are going down this playstyle is 2 Servitors and 2 Scorpius, because that is the point, to try and start putting sustained damage on your opponent as early as round 3 and make it very difficult for them to keep cards on the field. So without any more of a introduction of the build, I'm just going to let the clips play I will start off with a clip where I go first, just so you can see how sort of oppressive this playstyle can be when you get to go first. And then I will just let the other gameplays run. In a lot of them, you will see I actually get unlucky and I'm going second. So they are a lot more strategic games from my part, because I'm effectively on the back foot from the very beginning and have to try and counter whatever my opponent is doing when they are trying to attack me. And as you will see, some of them I win, some of them I lose, but I'm not going to tell you which ones. So you will just have to watch each game, and as each one is playing out, why don't you try and guess if I'm actually going to win it or not, depending on how my opponent is doing. So thank you for watching, and roll the gameplay. So I've matched a level 23, so someone who's higher than me, and this time I'm going first. Unfortunately, I don't have an Ayuela to start with, but still the fact I'm going first is a good sign. I can get my attacking cards down first, and I have a servitor. So I'm going to play my own servitor now on round 2. I would expect he may be trying to do the same, if he has one, yes. So I'm now going to use the turret, and I will be able to kill both of his cards. He may have his own turret, but at least it's not buffed by a servitor. Okay, I'm now going to play the grenade drag because it has a lot of health, so will survive an attack from the turret. Plus, it will be a deterrent from him playing a walker if he has one. Although actually, let me think about that. This will attack for 2. This will. If I play the walker, actually, I'm going to change my mind. If I play the walker, it will destroy his turret. These combined will now destroy his turret. So now my servitor is safe. If he plays the walker this round, so be it. I will kill it with an inquisitor. If he doesn't play the walker, then I'm probably playing the grenade drag next round. I decided it was more beneficial to attack the card he had rather than try and prevent a card that I don't know if he has. That card was meant to summon 2, and it only summoned 1. Interesting. As much. So this will attack for. That will attack for 3. That will attack for 2. You know what? These 2 cards alone should kill everything he has currently got on the field. So if I just play a grenade drag and also an Ayuela, I'm now blocking his front and his back row, and I think I'm still going to kill everything he's currently got on the field. Yes. And now whatever he plays is being attacked by either Ayuela or grenade drag, buffed by a servitor. That drop pod doesn't seem to be working. It once again only summoned 1 unit. I think I'm just going to play Ikora, and that will destroy everything on his back line. Plus, she has the most health, so the best power bonus. I wonder if he's just trying to play as many cards as he's got, because these aren't doing anything for him. Okay, no, at least he was able to attack with one, but still nowhere near enough damage. He's now annoyingly taking a long time to click end turn. Probably just to annoy me and drag the game out. There we go. I've just matched against a level 22 and I'm going second. They do not play anything on their first round. I will play Ayuela. Okay, I'm going to skip this turn. There's nothing that I can use Wu Ming on, so I'm going to save him. And yeah, if I would have got a servitor, I would have played that, but there's nothing for me to disable with Wu Ming. Okay, so as much as I could play my own turret here, or indeed a grenade reg, it's just going to be attacked by his turret. So I'm actually going to just disable, or should I say destroy his turret using Inquisitor. So at least I'm not being attacked every round. The turret is such a strong card that you can play it very early on, on round 3, and it will attack for every round. I'm once again going to do the same, because if I don't destroy his walker, it's going to attack again. So I'm going to play another Inquisitor and destroy his walker. I just want to stop him having attacking cards. Maybe on the next round I'll be able to play my servitor and then either my own turret or grenade drag. Yeah, I think I'm going to play my servitor and my turret to attack. And obviously getting my servitor down means on my final round when I play Akora, she's also going to hit for more. I see why he did that. So now this ogre is going to attack all of my units. Thankfully only for 1 damage, so my servitor doesn't get destroyed. And now I'm going to use Ikora to attack his front row, just because he has more units in the front row. And I just about win the game, thanks to Ikora. Okay, so I've just matched against a level 21, and I am going second. I'm going to start off with Ayuela. I'm happy to see that I've got a servitor this time, so that is probably my play for round 2. Although, if he has a turret, it won't get destroyed because he's not played a servitor himself. So even if he does play a turret on the next round, it's only going to hit for 1. I thought that might be coming, yeah. So, as much as it may be the smart play, or you may think it's the smart play to play my turret will only attack his turret for 2, and then given his turret, as much as it says it only attacks to 1 unit, it attacks 2, it will guaranteed kill my servitor. So instead, I'm going to play the Inquisitor first, just to kill his turret. and then I'm probably going to try and get the turret down on my next round. At least my servitor still lives. You know, ideally, if I keep that servitor alive until round 6, I can use it on Ikora, but it doesn't matter. He has a walker, and that will attack it. I'm going to play my turret this round. I know my Inquisitor is going to die from his walker, and my turret is going to lose 2 of its 4 health, but at least it will attack. He has 2 walkers. That's very strong. Had I realised that, obviously there was no way to know. The Grenade Dreg would have been the smarter play because it would have stopped him getting that second walker down. But I wasn't to know he had one of them. So I think what I play now is the Servitor and the Grenade Dreg. The Servitor will almost certainly be killed when he ends his turn, but at least if he does play any units, it will benefit the Grenade Dreg for the duration of this next turn. Very close game in the end. At the disadvantage by going second, he got to play his attacking cards before me. Okay, so I've just matched against another level 22, and they are going first. I'm going to start with Ayuela, and then hopefully on my next round I can play my Servitor. I am not going to play my Servitor because I suspect that he is now going to play a turret, which will then attack for 2 damage because of the Servitor, and it will kill my Servitor. So I'm actually going to use Rooming and disable his Servitor. Let's see if I'm correct and he plays his own turret. Yes, I knew that was coming. So given I'm now defensive, I'm going to play one of my Grenade Dregs because I would not be surprised if he has a Fallen Walker in his deck. And obviously the Grenade Dreg will just stop the Fallen Walker, well, because he can't play it. And the Grenade Dreg has a lot of health, so it will survive the turret for a few rounds. Obviously I have no way of knowing if he has a walker, unless he plays it later on, or I see him play it and it gets destroyed, but I'm just going to hope that he has one, and this is doing its job to counter it. Okay, and he plays his own Grenade Dreg. So, as much as it will take damage from his Grenade Dreg, I'm going to now use my Inquisitor to shut down his turret and just stop that, persistent damage I'm getting every round. I knew I was going to take the hit, but it's worth it to get rid of the turret. My next round is likely going to be a Servitor and then either the Grenade Dreg or another turret. Yeah, I want to play my Servitor, which I will play on the front row just to separate my units, and then I'm going to play my turret on the back row. So with only one more round left for him to play units, the Grenade Dreg isn't really worth it. Whereas if I can play the turret and it stays alive, I will at least get 2 rounds out of its attack. And it destroys his own turret, which is great. That was probably the best thing it could have killed. I'm not surprised he has an Ikora. It was a good play on his part. But I also have an Ikora, so I'm going to play her and attack his front row. And in the end, I tie the game, which, you know, for going second against a very attacking deck is not a bad result. Okay, so I've now matched against a level 22, and they are going first. I don't have anything I can play on round 1, and neither does he. Okay, so because I've seen him lead with the Ogre, I'm going to suspect he's not playing a turret, and even if he does, it's only going to do 1 damage. So I'm going to play my Servitor this time. Normally I'm very hesitant of playing a Servitor on round 2 when I go second, because it could be destroyed. But I don't think he's using the same type of deck that I have, given he is using the Ogre card. Okay, so he looks like he's using a Hive deck, but yeah, he's disabled my Servitor. That's a shame. I'm going to get a turret down just to start dealing some damage to him. Okay, another Ogre card. He is playing an inspired deck. He does not know I have this card, so this is going to be my play on round 5. Therefore, I want to play my Servitor. It might not seem like it makes sense at the moment, but I want to play my Servitor now, so that on my next round when I play this, she deals even more damage, because she's going to be able to attack all of those units with a bonus. Plus, obviously, my turret this round is going to hit for slightly more. I hope he doesn't have another way of killing my turret. No, he doesn't. Oh, he got very lucky with them buffing each other. But he does not know that I have this card that is going to attack all of his Inspired Hive. He still has the score advantage, but that did a lot to him. And I have an Icora ready for round 6. So now he only has 2 Inspired Hive as opposed to the amount he had before. Although that was still a very good play on his part. I think I use a Cora to attack his front row, which will deal 3 damage to all 4 of his units there. Plus she has 12 health. I just hope that's enough to close the difference. He has actually managed to get a very high score. Yeah, well played to him. He did that really well, despite me having the counter for his Inspired Hive. Well played. I've just matched against a level 22, and they are going first, which definitely gives them the advantage, assuming they are playing a similar aggressive deck that I am. Okay, he skips round 1. I'm going to have to do the same. Let's see if he has a Servitor. He does have a Servitor. Okay, so that now deters me from placing mine, because I expect him to follow it up with a turret, which will just kill my Servitor. So I'm going to just pass on this turn. Okay, that's not what I expected. I was expecting him to play a turret. I still don't want to play my own Servitor, because it's even more likely that it will get killed if he plays an attacking card. So, and likewise, I don't want to play my own turret, because it could get destroyed. I'm going to use my Inquisitor and just kill one of his Servitors, so that any attacking cards he does play, he's only going to be benefited once. Okay, there's the Walker. I'm going to play my turret. Obviously, I know on his next turn the walker will attack it for 3 because it's buffed by the servitor, but I don't really see any other move I can make. I'm also going to play Ayuela. She will get killed by the walker, but at least if he was going to place anything on his front row, it will stop that. As it happens, nope, he's not playing that on the front row, and he kills my turret. Smart move by him, and as I knew would happen, Ayuela gets killed. I'm going to play, as much as it would be good to play a servitor, if I play the servitor, I don't have anything I can play that attacks. None of his units are buffed. So I'm going to play the augmented shank on his to attack his back row. It will at least kill the walker, and it will do some damage to the other units. I fully expect him to play an Ikora here and attack my shank, which would seem a bit of a shame. You know, there's only one unit for him to attack, but Ikora still has a lot of health to start with. So it would be worth playing her just for that, if he has one. Okay. He doesn't have one. So I think Ikora may now give me the win. All I need to do is play Ikora and attack his back row. And yes. So I end up winning with only one card on my field. Even though I was second in an attacking, a very attacking base duel. Okay, so I'm now matched with another level 22, but I am thankfully going first. So I'm going to lead with an Ayuela just to deter him from maybe placing any of his units on the front row. And let's lead with my servitor so that when I start playing my attacking units, they are buffed. He is doing the same. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a turret, which would have been really good because I could have killed his servitor. So instead, I'm going to get my grenade dreg down just to attack anything he places on the back row. I suspect he's probably going to follow this up with a turret or a grenade dreg himself. And I'm very glad that his turret did not actually target my servitor. I'm going to gamble here and play the walker because I hope, well, it's either going to kill his servitor or his turret, which either way means it's not going to kill my servitor on my next turn. If I get lucky, it kills both his servitor and his turret. No, but I'm glad his turret's dead. Okay. I now have 5 energy. I'm going to play my turret just to get another sort of persistent attacking card down, and then I'm also going to play an Ayuela just to attack the front row. So now I have both my turret and my walker that will attack when I end my turn. Some good damage. Okay. I think what I do here is, unfortunately I didn't get Ikora. It would be nice to have a hero card. I'm going to play the servitor just so that my attacking cards will deal for more damage, and then I'm also going to play, I think, the Inquisitor just to kill his tomb ship. And then I think I will be able to kill everything he currently has. Or do I play the Grenade Dreg? This will now attack for 4. So whatever it attacks, it's going to kill 2 of them. This will attack for 3. You know, I think I play the Grenade Dreg, actually, because I might still kill everything he's got with the Walker and the turret. And at least the Grenade Dreg will now attack the back row. And I have Iowella attacking the front row. Does this kill everything he has? It does. So it would have been a waste for me to use an Inquisitor. So now I've got both his front row and his back row on lockdown. And he can't even play the Ogre. Iowella is countering it. And he forfeits the game. And that's how dominant the attacking deck can be if you go first.